Good morning. I'm going to talk about Tdd, which in my opinion is a fun way to browser test. My name is Toby Ho, and I want to thank my employer, DataTrack, for making it possible for me to be here. This is me. I'm outside in the parking lot taking a picture of myself just after getting a haircut from Super Walmart in preparation for coming here to this conference to give this presentation. So now that you know my qualifications, let's begin. I'm going to show off a side project which I've been working on since the end of last year. It is called Tdd. Tdd is an Italian word that means all together. You might have seen it in musical scores where it is used as a signal to the band to play all together. Tdd, the project, is a JavaScript console that is capable of executing JavaScript on multiple web browsers simultaneously. So the website is tddjs.com. In order to get started, first you create a room. A room is just a way in which I keep everybody separate so that everybody isn't executing JavaScript on everybody else's browsers. So I'm going to go ahead and create a room. And at this point, I'm dropped into a JavaScript shell where I can execute any arbitrary JavaScript. This URL here is associated with the room that it is connected to. So if you want to connect another browser, you would just copy and paste the URL into that one as well. So I'm going to update it to the room that I just created. So now that both Safari and Chrome are connected to this room, any JavaScript that you execute here will be executed by both browsers, and the results of both will be displayed. So I'm going to connect a few more browsers now to start off. I have a Firefox 4, and I'm going to tag on a couple of IE instances as well. I want IE 8 as well as IE 7. So to emulate IE 7, I will go into Developer Tools and put it into IE 7 mode. So now we can use the browsers command to see the set of browsers that are connected to this room right now. Also want to mention there's just 3 commands that are available in this console. The help will print the help message. Browsers, as you just saw, and reset will reset the JavaScript sandbox, which basically means it destroys the iframe that you're running your code in and creates a new one. So everything is blown away. You start afresh. So let me just put all these windows side by side here, arrange them. Okay, and I'm going to use Chrome as the driver. So in general, any JavaScript, for the most part, you throw some JavaScript at these browsers, they will give you the same answer, but not always. So sometimes browsers just cannot agree on what to do for some edge cases. For example, let's say I were to create an input element and set the value to a multi-line string. If I get that value back, the browsers do not agree. Some will just concatenate the lines. Others will put a space in between. And some other older browsers will preserve that new line. So if you ask them who they are, they will give you extremely long names differentiating themselves from each other. But then again, maybe, just maybe, they're not all that different from each other. So this is just a brief demo of Tdd, the web-based version, but that is not all. There's also a command line version of Tdd, which you can install using npm install Tdd. So once you do that, you can start it by saying Tdd and then giving it the room URL. And now there's Tdd right in your console. And here, basically anything you can do in the web version, you can do here, with the exception that since this is not actually a browser, it's not responsible for executing any JavaScript. It just sends them out. So I forgot to mention console. If you do a console.log, then it will render it in blue instead of green. And the green is the actual return value of the statement that you just executed, and then the blue is any console messages that you print out. So you can use exit to exit that. Now, also comes with that npm package is a JavaScript driver, which you can use to script all the browsers that are connected to the room. So I will show you how to, is this too low, by the way? Should I make it a little higher, maybe? All right, I'm gonna show you how to use it, use the library. So first you require Tdd, inside which there is a Tdd constructor. So you call the Tdd constructor again with the URL of the room you want to connect to. The first thing you want to do is register or bind to the message event. This will tell you of any messages that the browsers are passing to you. So I'm just going to console log this message for now. So once you do that, you can start using the eval method to send the browser JavaScript. So I sent the browsers some JavaScript. All of them executed it, and it sent me back these replies. Some of them are the console messages. Others are the replies, which give you the return value of the statement. You could also pass in a function here, if you like. And then that would also just get executed in the browser. But with the library, there's an added capability. Now you can load some local files and have the files get executed in the browsers as well, which I'll show to you right now. So I have a test suite that's written in Jasmine, or written using Jasmine, which Jasmine, I've been using it for a while, and I highly recommend it. It's very full-featured and very solid. So I have a test suite, and I want to run it. How am I going to run it? Well, I'll just write a script using the Tdd driver. So this is that script. First, we use the driver to connect to the Tdd server. Here, I'll just update it with our URL for the room. I have a display function that'll print out any console log messages that come back from the browsers. And right now, I'm only interested in the console log and any errors that come out. Essentially, the result of the tests is going to be logged to the console in this example. And so once I am connected, first, I want to reset the sandbox to get a predictable environment. Then I just load the set of files that I need. So first, there's Jasmine, the testing framework. Jasmine, console Jasmine reporter is the reporter that I wrote to print the test results into the console instead of displaying it in HTML. And then there's the implementation file and the test file. And then at the end, I'm just going to use eval to kick off the test suite. At the end, I'm just going to exit out of this program. But before that, I want to wait for the console message to come in, because that's what tells us the test results. So let's try running that now. So reset the sandboxes, and ta-da! So it ran the tests in all 5 browsers, but for completeness, I'm gonna show you a failing test. I'm just gonna mess up this code and run it. So that's what it might look like with failing tests. Now, if you do TDD, you might notice that sometimes it's tedious having to switch back and forth between your editor and your console all the time. So, but with Node.js, it's kind of easy to write a script that'll monitor any changes in your source file and then rerun the tests automatically. So I have a script that does that. So now this time I just have the required scripts in an array, and then I just say for each script I want to do a watch file on it for modification, and then anytime it's modified, any of them, I'll just rerun the tests. Pretty simple. And I'm just going to demo for you the workflow of doing TDD using this. I better update this script to point to the right room. Okay. Okay, the first time around, it just ran on all 5 browsers, but there weren't any tests yet because these are empty files. So for this exercise, I'm just going to write a shim for the array prototype.map method. So I'm going to say describe array map. It should map. And I'm going to say expect if I map 1, 2, 3 to, I just multiply everything by 2, then I should get a value equal to 2, 4, 6. Here, I save it, and it sees the changes and automatically rerun the tests. So it passed in Safari, Firefox, and Chrome, but not in IE because IE doesn't support that method. So I guess I'll just have to write the method myself. So I'm going to say if it doesn't exist, then I'll just use my own implementation. So I need a returning array, and I'll cache the length At the end, return. And yeah. And so, yay, it passed everything. It passed it for all the browsers that I'm interested in. So now that's a gross simplification of the map method, obviously. I could go further and make it more correct, but I'm not going to. So the point of this is just to show you how TDD might work using the 2D driver. But the 2D driver, you can use it for other things too, not just testing. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to build a browser feature comparison table using the 2D driver. So I wrote a script. Update it to the room that I just created. I wrote a script that will, it'll first load Modernizer, the feature detection library. And then it'll basically loop through the Modernizer object for each of the features that it detects. And it'll print out some table headers, and then it'll print out the row for that browser. It'll just put an X in the rows in the column. It'll put an X in the column where that corresponds to the feature that browser supports. So I won't go line by line through this script, but I'll just show you what it does here now. So if I say, like, run it. That's not very, okay. I'll put it into a file. What did we call it? Okay, hopefully it's working. We missed IE7 somehow, but you get the idea. So it's a textual table like this. It's a table in ASCII, essentially. But I also happen to have some code lying around that'll convert that ASCII table into HTML. So I run the script that does the whole thing now. Okay. Ouch. We lost a couple of browsers. Let me see if I can get them back. Yeah, sure. Okay, yay. So yeah, just by running that script, now I have generated this feature comparison table. Nice. Okay, so last thing I want to show you is you can also do npm install 2D server. So in case 2tjs.com goes down, maybe because I can't afford to have it stay up. So once you install this, you just run 2T server, and it'll serve 2T on port 8080. So you can access it directly. Hello. Access directly on port 8080. This is running in standalone mode, which there is only one room. There are no multiple rooms because presumably you're just running it on your own. So, but you can use this top level URL in any of the places that I showed in the demo. So this is still early days for this project. If you play with it and you come across any issues, please report it. Please report them to GitHub. That is it for me. Thank you for your attention.